I would like to introduce Melanie McShane. She is C.A.R.'s Industry Relations Special Projects Manager, and she is going to talk about our new member benefits. Melanie, it's all you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to try and share my screen, so hopefully I can do this properly. Are you seeing the presentation?
We are.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to move this window out of the way. And so thank you so much for having me today. I've got about a 20-minute presentation, and feel free to ask questions along the way, or if you want to wait until the end, I'm fine either way. Happy to be here today to share with you our member benefits. Just so you know, my background is as a realtor. I was a realtor for 16 years before I joined the California Association of Realtors. So I did come from a local association and was very involved in both the local association and the California Association as serving on the board of directors and different committees. So I will kind of throw in my opinion on some of the benefits that we have, just because I was a realtor and know the value of those. So I appreciate. So we do have a member benefit guide. I wanted to share this with you, and I will make sure that Peggy can share this presentation with you as well. I would encourage everyone to download the guide and keep it on your desktop, because it has links to all of these great resources that are listed in here. So I would encourage everyone to just sort of keep that on your desktop, and if anybody asks you questions, you'll look like just an absolute genius and be able to really quickly access all of the information. The other thing that we are doing this year is, on a monthly basis, a new flyer will be available highlighting a handful of the member benefits. So this is our latest update. This is the February, and I will talk about CCRE a little bit later, and I will talk about the iMessage app a little bit later. But I did want to mention, and I'm sure you've all heard, I believe that it was discussed at one of your most recent meetings, the virtual legislative day that's coming up on March 2nd. This is a great opportunity to have more of your members experience what happens during legislative day. The in-person legislative day is still scheduled for Wednesday, April 27th. And for the in-person event, I would encourage you, I know that there are scholarships available for first-time attendees of legislative day. So that's a great way for some of the newer realtors who have recently joined some committees or have just recently gotten involved, to get them there so that they can experience what legislative day is like in person. The other thing I wanted to mention is our podcasts. And so we're featuring our podcasts. We have currently 4 different podcasts. We have the Housing Matters podcast. C.A.R.'s amazing economists, Jordan Levine and Oscar Way, provide economic updates in a very engaging and very easy to understand way. We also have a Legal Matters podcast, and this is the incredible member legal team providing updates and guidance on some of the most pressing legal issues that members are facing, along with explanations on forms. And whenever there's updates to the forms, they also share that. The newest podcast that we have is Unlocking California Politics, and that is a resource for politics, legislation, housing policy, housing news from the California Association of Realtors. And the most recent podcast that was on there was a fascinating interview with Joel Singer, sort of reflecting on his career and sharing his views on the future of the real estate industry. And then the 4th podcast that we have is something called Trending Local with Rick Laisman. And there he talks about local issues impacting housing and real estate. And so he talks about topics such as ADUs, PACE liens, rent control. And all of these are sort of great opportunities to have member discussions. So think about like a book club discussion, but if a member only has to listen to a podcast, it's a much quicker way to have a book club type discussion. So these are all great sources of information for that. And then I'm just going to walk through some of the highlights of the guide. So the key benefits, obviously, I believe everyone is aware of the legal resources and hotline. You may not have been aware that there is an app. There is a member legal app, and you can go into Apple App Store or Samsung. I don't know what the other one is called, the Android version. But there is an app, and people can download that, and it has lots of information so that, you know, people can access it directly from their phone, and sometimes find the answer that they're looking for without having to wait online for the answer. Down payment resources. As a realtor, I was always asked by home buyers, you know, hey, am I eligible for, you know, any down payment assistance? Is there anything out there for me? And this is a great tool that all realtors should be using, because they get that question all the time. And so I know that in this market, you know, it's going to be less favorably looked upon sometimes, but, you know, I think it is worth sharing with all of the clients, all of the members, so that they do know that, you know, there are resources available. And then finally, Transaction Rescue, which is a great resource as well for all of your members. And this is just, it's really when the realtors run into problems, or when the home buyers run into problems from a lending perspective. Mark Farfel, who is our resource behind Transaction Rescue, is just an amazing resource who has contacts within the lending institutions. And, you know, I can speak from experience. I had one lender who just stopped returning phone calls, and the client went and sat in their office and they never showed up. And, you know, it's hard to know what to do in those situations. And Transaction Rescue is a great resource to try and help resolve those issues so that the deal doesn't fall apart because of anything related to the lending. Then I want to turn to some of the marketing resources that C.A.R. has. These are local market and industry specific infographics and information. And these are just great resources that realtors can take and make themselves look like a local market expert. So the first thing, these are statewide examples of some of the statewide marketing materials. Every week, this market update comes out. You know, you could make yourself look like a genius by, you know, just doing 1 or 2 paragraphs of this every day, and people are going to think, wow, how is this person so smart? How do they know so much? So these are great resources. And then this weekly survey, or it says monthly survey. I believe that it is updated every week. So that is really asking realtors what is going on, what are they actually seeing in the market. And so this is updated every week with new information about, you know, are buyers pulling back, are sellers putting homes on the market, you know, what's going on. And so that is information that's great to have, to know, you know, sort of which direction people are feeling based on activity that's occurring in the market. And then I wanted to share sort of some more local market data. This is obviously for Santa Barbara County. I thought this was really cool. You can very quickly go in, and if you have an out-of-town buyer who's trying to evaluate, you know, hey, do I move to Goleta or Lompoc? What's going on with those? You can do a quick comparison, and it takes about a minute to go in and decide, you know, what you want, what county you want, what city you want, what zip code you want, and you can quickly put together a piece of information like this. And as I say, if your members are trying to do a comparison between 2 communities, they can provide both communities, and somebody can look at that and see what's available, what's the median price. It shows 20% down or 3% down, so people can get an idea of the payments for the housing supply in that area. The next piece of information I wanted to share is some of the meetings and virtual events that we have. So Woman Up, which is an annual conference. And if anybody wants to know anything more about Woman Up, I'm going to be your point of contact for that, myself and Sarah Sudachan. We are very excited. We are keeping our fingers crossed that we will be able to be back in person. And so that will be from August 30th to September 1st at the Paseo Hotel in Huntington Beach. We're very excited to be back in person. Reimagine, the conference and expo, just get these dates on your calendar. We are planning that to be in person as well, at least a portion of it, a big portion of it. And that will be taking place in Long Beach, October 11th to the 13th. So you might just want to sort of pencil in those dates on your calendar so that you have those and you have the time reserved. Also wanted to make you aware of Steps Towards Homeownership. This is a great event that takes place virtually. It's done on about a quarterly basis. And it involves realtors and lenders talking about information key to housing affordability and programs to assist home buyers. So we often bring in HUD counselors, we bring in lenders who have different programs that will support, some of the lower income home buyers. We talk about home buying grants. We talk about just different ways that people who think that they might not have an opportunity to step into home ownership can actually do that. So that's a great event. The next event coming up is April 6th from 10 to 12 p.m. and that will be virtual. And then the final event that is on this page is the Tech Experience, which you've probably also seen lots of ads for. This is coming up on March 9th. Again, another virtual event. It's $15 for our C.A.R. members, $49 for non-members, but this was a huge hit last year, talking about tech trends, digital marketing best practices, all kinds of practical solutions from top producers and what tech they're using in their business to be successful. And then I just wanted to share with you some of the additional communities that we have outside of the C.A.R. website. So we have an IamWomanUp.com website. I encourage everyone to visit that. That is a great source of information for everything that the Woman Up movement is doing, including the registration to access the weekly live event that happens every Friday at 2 p.m. Bring on one or more guest speakers. We have wisdom sessions where we bring in a panel and go do a deep dive on a particular subject. We also have our coffee and conversations with Leslie, where she brings on one or more guests and discusses what's going on, books they're reading, different topics that are of interest to them at that point. We also have Fair Housing California, which was started, I believe, about 1.5 years ago. And this is a tremendous resource that has information. All of C.A.R.'s resources, many of NAR's resources are accessible here, along with a growing list of recommended books that are all about diversity, equity, and inclusion within the real estate industry. And then the newest external website is the Center for California Real Estate. And that is a resource that has the white papers, panel discussions, executive reports on all of the issues shaping the future of real estate. This is just packed with tons of great information. And also, that would be another great source for, having somebody read a white paper and then come in for an interesting and fascinating discussion. And then I wanted to cover a few of the new member benefits that we introduced in 2022. Hurdler, I don't know if you've heard any of your members talking about this. I know that on our YPN forum, several of the members mentioned that this was their favorite new tool. I personally have not been able to experience it myself, but from what I understand, it is a great resource to make doing taxes a little bit easier. So it's got real-time expense tracking, income tracking, mileage tracking. You can also track your transactions so you can get a quick snapshot of what's going on in your business very quickly in real time. And so from what I understand, it really makes, doing your taxes much easier. And this is a free member benefit. And then another new member benefit we have is offer place. Again, as a former realtor, I saw this, I was like, oh, wow, that is super cool. This allows people within Zip Forms to create a link that can be posted, it can either be sent via email or it could be posted on social media. It can be shared in a variety of different ways. But as you can see, you can, and I highlighted there the make offer, it creates this make offer button that people can click on. So another agent or even a potential home buyer could click on this, and then they can fill in all of the details and submit an offer. So you could potentially have, home buyers directly. Ideally, if they're working with an agent, they're asking their agent to do this. You can include attachments, including an offer, and that would get sent. I think the beauty of this is that you get a response immediately letting you know that the offer has been submitted. And I know this is one of the biggest frustrations of agents. I don't even know if they received it. This way you can clearly communicate to your client, yes, a copy of the offer was sent to this person. So they will know that, yes, the offer was in fact submitted. And then the listing agent can decide, do they just want to decline this because it's an unreasonable offer, or they already have an offer, or do they want to respond to this, or do they want to accept this? And they can, again, do that in real time, and it's all within the existing transaction platform that they're using. So it can make it a lot easier to compare multiple offers, see what's going on, see the activity, and communicate that to their clients.
Sorry about that. I've got a NAR Zoom meeting going to
The next new member benefit I wanted to share was the iMessage app. Again, as a former realtor, one of the most frustrating things is when your broker tells you that you need to keep your text messages now using, and unfortunately it is only available for iPhone. Now you can message directly, and it will all be captured in the transaction history for your records. So this is a great way to be able to send documents and forms and listings directly from your phone to your clients and be able to preserve that in the communications log for the transaction. So you can see here, maintain an audit trail for compliance. And then the final thing I wanted to mention is that C.A.R is obviously very concerned about our member profitability. So we do have a free webinar series that we encourage you to share with your members. The first webinar already happened, how to make any business highly profitable by the very next deposit. This is a series being put on by Mike. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. I don't want to ruin that last name. But it is all about profitability and, talking about different ways to get profitable. And it is, they're definitely focused on the real estate industry. So there is another webinar coming up on April 14th. This is free for all of our members to attend. So just wanted to put that out there, that we are really trying to pay attention to how we can help our members have a much more sustainable business. And that is it. There's my contact information. I will make sure that everybody gets a copy of this presentation. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
If anyone has any questions, you can just unmute. There haven't been any in the chat. So you've been pretty thorough. Anybody have a question? You don't even have to raise your hand, just unmute. Well, seeing none, I will be sending a follow-up email with a link to this recording, as well as other links that were mentioned in Melanie's presentation and Melanie's slide deck as well. So Melanie, thank you very much. That was great, very thorough, and we will see everybody next time.